Our story starts in Libya in 1951. Libya has just gained its independence from Italy and King Idris now sits upon the throne. Across town we find the first character in this story, a 7-year-old boy called Khaled Othman. Now Khaled, like most children born in Tripoli, came from a very poor family, but even though he was brought up in poverty, young Khaled knew he would become a footballer one day. Now 18 years had passed in Libya under King Idris's rule, and after years of corruption and misuse of the country's vast oil wealth, the people of Libya had had enough. While away in Turkey having a medical procedure, he was overthrown in a bloodless military coup led by Colonel Gaddafi. The year was 1969 and Khaled Othman was entering his 5th season playing for Al Ahly Tripoli. He was a member of the team in 1964 that played and won the first ever season and title in Libyan football. Now a firm favourite with the club, he was gathering interest from some bigger teams from around Europe. Unluckily though for Khaled, in Game 3 of the new season, he suffered a career-ending knee injury. With his career as a player over, Khaled was determined to stay in football some way or another. And in 1970, he moved to Al-Qams FC as a coach. 4 years later, he was promoted to the position of manager, but after an unsuccessful 2 years, he was sacked. And in 1980, and now disillusioned with football, he moved way out east to the city of Tobruk. Now 36 years old, he decided to get a regular job, working in the city's port. 10 more years passed, and we find ourselves at the beginning of a new decade in Libya. It's 1990 and Khaled's footballing days are well and truly behind him. But after coming home from work one day, he was sipping tea, sitting on his balcony, when he looked down below and spotted a young boy around 6 years old playing football with his friends. This lad had talent like he had never seen before. Khaled made himself known to the boy's mother and said he would love to train him for no fee, and when the boy was old enough, he would contact his old club in Tripoli to see if they could arrange a trial for him. The mother agreed to this, and this was the beginning of Tarek Abdallah's journey. It's now 1996 and Tarek had been trained 5 times a week by Khaled for the past 6 years. The two had formed a very close father-son relationship. Tarek's father had died when he was a child, so he needed a solid father figure. Khaled knew the lad had a huge future in football, possibly beyond Libyan football, but he also knew he was a very selfish young boy who had somewhat of an evil streak in him. Despite this, he loved the kid and he arranged a trial with Tripoli, a trial the young 12-year-old passed with flying colours. On the day he signed his contract, he promised Khaled and his mother that if he ever made it into the big time, he would look after them and take them with him. All 3 of them packed up and moved from Tobruk out west to Tripoli. In the year 2000, the now 16-year-old Tarek was about to make his first team debut. He had also met a girl that year, and the following year the young couple gave birth to a boy called Hassan. And after another year passed, the now 18-year-old Tarek was getting a lot of attention from clubs in Italy. One club in particular was Serie B team Palermo, who were looking for a young star that could help them reach the Serie A and then could be sold on for a profit at a later date. They offered Tarek a very handsome deal, a deal he accepted. This would be the moment 18-year-old Tarek would show his true colours to his family. 6 years earlier, when he signed his contract, he'd promised to look after Khaled and his mother no matter what. But Palermo told him he must leave them behind and think about his footballing career. And without a second thought, he left in the middle of the night, leaving his young girlfriend and his 1-year-old son, Hassan, behind, along with his mother and Khaled. The young girl was devastated. She moved back to Tobruk with her young son and Tarek's mother. Both of the women blamed Khaled and said he should have stopped Tarek leaving without them. Khaled also moved back to Tobruk, but he was banished from having any more involvement with the family and from seeing the baby boy, Hassan. Tarek never gave Khaled or his family a second thought again, and by 2004, and after his 3rd season with the club, he'd helped them reach the Serie A. Tarek was a prolific goal scorer in Serie B for Palermo and easily transferred those skills into the top flight. After the first 5 games, he scored 4 goals, and the future was looking very, very bright for the young star. After their latest win, Tarek was driving home in his Porsche when he was involved in a serious car accident. Tarek had to have both his lower legs amputated to free him from the wreckage. With his career over and his life in pieces, he still didn't contact his family, and after 2 years of recovery and rehabilitation, he'd had replacement limbs fitted. He'd also been offered a coaching role at Palermo, and in 2010, and still only 26 years old, he became the club's youngest ever manager. Then in 2013, he moved on to become the manager of Udinese. At the same time, back home in Libya, a young 12-year-old Hassan was walking home, dreaming of becoming a footballer, just like his father. For Hassan though, this path was unlikely, as his mother and grandmother didn't want him playing football. They were afraid that they would lose him one day like they did with his father. But the young Hassan would still play secretly with his friends. And one day, while he was on his way home after playing with his friends, he was dribbling through the market when an old man in a cloak stopped him. It was Khaled. He'd been watching over Hassan for years and years, sending money secretly to his mother to help the boy out. Khaled told him he used to play for Tripoli a long time ago, and that he also knew his father as a boy. He said he knew he wasn't allowed to play football, but he would happily train him in secret if he wanted, as he believed he had the same talents as his father. Hassan had heard stories around the market from locals about old man Khaled, the ex-footballer who worked at the docks. He knew this could be a mistake, one that would make his mother mad, but he instantly trusted the old man and accepted the offer. Now, even though he'd missed years of extra training and had come into football a lot later than his father did, Hassan showed all the same qualities Tarek had. Khaled sensed a difference in this young boy. He felt none of the doubts he had about his father's character. Hassan was a good kid, and in 2017 he managed to get the boy a trial with 2nd Division local team Al Sukour. Once the contract was signed, Khaled and Hassan told his mother and grandmother about what had been happening the past few years. At first, they were angry, but they knew giving their blessing was the right thing to do for Hassan. They too had sensed the goodness in him. And in 2019, the young player was not only attracting offers from top Libyan sides, but from teams all over the world. But before he would decide his future, he had to play in an African youth tournament for Libya. Now, moving back 2 years to 2017, when Hassan was first signing his contract, his father's career was also taking another big step forwards. After a few successful years in charge of Udinese, he had attracted the attention of one of Italy's biggest teams. He was now the head coach of Inter Milan. Now, 2 years into this job at Inter, a scout report had landed on his desk. A scout report about a young Libyan called Hassan Abdallah. He knew it was his son, and straight away booked a flight to the African Championships to see his son play. Now, Hassan tore up the tournament, and even though he couldn't help Libya win it, he was definitely the standout star. Scouts from everywhere wanted his signature, and as he stood by the pitch with Khaled, looking up to the stands, waving to his mother and grandmother, a dark figure limped towards him. Hassan turned round to see a man with false metal legs. It was Tarek, and Tarek looked into his son's eyes for the first time in 18 years and said, "Hassan, you may not know me, but I am the head coach of Inter Milan, and I am your father." "You are not my father," Hassan replied. "My father is dead to me. Khaled is my father now." Hassan laughed loudly. "This old man is a fool," he said. "He is nobody's father. Forget him. Sign with me, Hassan, and together we can rule Italy and the world as father and son." Hassan looked at him with a look of steel and said, "No, I will never join you." And with that, he put his arm around his old mentor Khaled, turned around and walked away from his father. Tarek just smirked, shrugged his shoulders, and turned around limping away, back to his waiting limo. Now, with the world at his feet, Hassan made a choice that would shock it to its core. He rejected offers from Roma, Schalke and Arsenal to sign with an Egyptian team, Pyramids FC. Now, they had only formed in 2008 and had been in the top flight of Egyptian football since 2014. Backed by huge finances from their new owner, Salem Al-Shamsi, the club offered him not only a great contract, but a house big enough for him, his mother, his grandmother and his mentor Khaled to live in. Unlike his father, he would never turn his back on his family. But how will the young Hassan Abdallah's career pan out? Will he ever play for a big club in Europe? Will he ever go head to head with one of his father's teams? Will his father ever convince him to join him? Can he help Libya win the African Cup of Nations? Well, we're going to find out in the story of A New Hope. Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to the channel. If you're brand new, thanks for checking out one of my videos. Hopefully by the end of the video you'll be a subscriber. If you're already a subscriber, as always, thanks for coming back. I really do appreciate it. Make sure while you're all here you smash the like button. It really does help out the episode and the channel. And if you really want to help out my channel, you can always pledge to my Patreon. You'll find a link to that and everything else, like a save file for this brand new Boodiverse, down below in the description. Now then, A New Hope is a story about Hassan Abdallah. We're going to follow his career as he starts it off in Egypt with Pyramids FC. Now, this kid's not a wonder kid, but he could become a Premier League player. So we're going to see what kind of career he can have, and can he do anything special for his home country, Libya. But we're also going to check in on his dad. even though he's a bit of a bad guy, Tarek Abdallah, he's going to have a managerial career, hopefully. We're going to see where he goes, and we're going to see if the paths ever cross. So yeah, thanks for checking out this video. It is just a bit of fun, so hopefully you're going to enjoy it, especially while we're all still in lockdown pretty much. So thank you as always. Let's get started. So let's start here with young Hassan Abdallah. He is 17 years old. He's going to be 18 pretty soon, and he has just signed, as we've seen in the story, for Pyramids FC. He was playing back in Libya at a lowish level, and he he did pretty well at that level, but can he step it up? Well, if we look at his attributes, he's pretty good, but I've not made him anything special. He's definitely not a wonder kid, but he's a decent finisher. Just like his dad, he's got the potential to be a top player, really. Not everyone's going to become super world class, but can he do anything for Libya? I mean, his mentor career ended early. His dad's career ended early. Hopefully Hassan doesn't end up in an accident or have an injury, and he can have a full career. Now, if we go over to his information, you'll see he has got favoured personnel. Obviously, Khaled, his mentor, Mona, his mum, and we've put Tarek on there because he wouldn't really like his dad. He's not really a favoured personnel, but I wanted to say that it's his father. I want the game to know that that's his father. And if you put someone on a disliked list on the editor, it can't be your father. His agent is Terry Tibbs, but every character that's within this little universe of mine has Terry Tibbs as their agent. His favourite clubs are the club he used to play for, and now Pyramids, because they've given him a big chance, really. And I've never heard of Pyramids. I mean, I have, but I didn't realise how much money they had until I looked into the Egyptian League within the editor, and I looked at all the teams, and I noticed not many of them have got any money. And then I saw Pyramids FC. They got 30 million. But if we do check out his history, he played 3 years. He was working his way into that team. You can see last year was amazing for him before he made his move. But what I did was as well is he didn't start till later, did he? So I wanted to make that a thing when it came to his potential in a way, because his dad would probably be a bit better, really, because his dad started out, he got spotted when he was younger. Now, if we just go back quickly to Hassan's information, I just want to explain that Mona Abdallah is his mother. It says relation, but you can't have mother or sister for some reason. It's not an option for that. And then Khaled, obviously, who is his idol, his mentor. Now, if you just have them floating about the database, they'll disappear. People will stick around if they've got a job, so I made them directors at Hassan's first team. Here is his father, and he is, of course, at Inter Milan. He's started to build quite a good career for himself. He's young still. For a manager, he's only 34. He had his son at a very young age. And obviously started as a coach at Palermo after his injury. Became their youngest manager, went to Udinese, and now he's been at Inter for close to 2 years. So he's got a big-time job now. So he's got a chance to do something special. And, I mean, his stats are pretty good. But they could get better because he's young. And I'm just interested to see how he does, because I know he's a bad guy, but can he have a successful career as a manager, and will he ever sign his son? Are they ever going to cross paths? So here we are with his information, and you'll see his favourite clubs are the club he started out as a kid, and he supported Palermo, obviously Udinese. He's outspoken, short-tempered, confrontational, because he's an arsehole. The guy is a grade A prick. So this is his playing career, and he played quite a few years. He started quite young. Obviously, he had 5 seasons-ish in Libya, and his last 2 there were amazing before he made that big move and dumped everybody back in 2002-03. And obviously was in Serie B then for a few years. Finally got him into Serie A. Finally hit the big time. Started off well, and his accident. Well, we've jumped forward 5 years, and Hassan Abdallah has let me down and signed for Manchester City. He's a good player though, isn't he? He is a good player, but he's only a 175 max, which is very good, don't get me wrong, but it's not a 200 level Messi. A lot of the guys I make on here who do very well, I always make them a -10 or a maximum potential to make sure they become a superstar. So Hassan Abdallah, he's Premier League. I thought he could have a good career, but he's done the usual move to a biggish team, on a team with money. Can't really call City big. He's had 4 years at Lyon, where he moved for 1.3 million. Had one good year in Egypt, made that move pretty quick to France, Started off quite slowly, really, didn't he? So when he actually finally came to Europe, he's had to find his feet and learn. But he's not super prolific in a bigger league. I mean, his last season, what's that, a goal every other game? But he's just made a £107 million move, which is a lot. A lot for a player that's not scoring, 20 plus goals in the French league. So City have took a gamble on him, but can he get any better in the Premier League? Now here we are with Hassan's entire history. We're not going to go through it all. I just want to show you because at the bottom there, you'll see he made his international debut for Libya. And he's done some good things for Libya, to be fair. He's broke like goal scoring records. I think he scored 10 goals in a season, which is a new record. Somewhere around here. It's somewhere. He's been named in a few seasonal 11s. So, he's done really, really well for his country. But the reason I'm mentioning this is because you may or may have not noticed, but his father's got no caps. And the reason behind that was I wanted it to be like he's an asshole, innit? So he never wanted to play for Libya. He turned him down, hoping that he'd get somewhere else. Play in that country long enough and earn nationality there at what he'd class as a better country like Italy. And obviously he never lasted. His career didn't last long enough. So he never played international football. So we've got nothing to compare with, but that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And I want Hassan, hopefully, to do something with Libya. I think it'd be quite cool if he could. Quick look at his information page and you'll see he scored 40 goals in 41 games for Libya. That's pretty good. He's going to be like a superstar there, isn't he? And he's got obviously a few more favoured personnel. And he wants to be the captain of City one day. That'd be interesting. I don't think I made him a leader, but we'll find out. Let's see what his dad's been doing. Because he's had the Inter Milan job, which is not an easy job to keep sometimes. But he's kept it. He's got better as well. So he's now been in charge of this club for 7 years. Wow. And he's done quite well. He's won the Coppa Italia. He's won the Serie A. He's won the Coca-Cola Super Cup. Then finished third in the Serie A. What else has he won? Serie A title again. He's won the Coca-Cola again. Came third. And he's just won the Serie A title again. And came runner-up in the Coppa Italia. So he's not done bad, has he? Notice though, he's getting about here, isn't he? He's now mates with Zidane somehow. And are they going to Solskjaer? That is so random. Mauricio Pochettino. Becoming mates with everyone, isn't he? Brilliant. He's still outspoken, still short-tempered, and still confrontational though. Quick look at Libya, just check in. The 93rd in the world, and Hassan is their best player. Well, he should be really, their key player. Now, we'll check it later on, but they've been in African Cups of Nations, got out of groups, never got past qualifiers after that, or knockout rounds after that, or got to World Cups. So I'm hoping they can get to be a bit better. One thing I do like about them is the nickname, the Mediterranean Knights. That is a pretty cool name. Welcome back, and it is now June 2029, so we jump forward another 5 years, so it's 10 years in total, and we're still here in Manchester with Manchester City. And Hassan Abdallah has really got some games down. He's scored some goals, but he does look like he's a goal every other game kind of player, which is fine. But that looks like his consistent level in the top league. He's a good player, isn't he? If we look at his information as well, it looks like Jurgen Klopp might have been Manchester City manager at some point. He's got a lot of former managers as friends, probably from his countries and different clubs, but he's also scored 95 caps, he's scored 125 goals. He kills it, doesn't he? But some of the teams that we play, especially like North Africa, he's going to absolutely destroy him, isn't he? He loves Man City now as well. He loves everybody. Still wants to be the captain. Great. Why did he go to Man City? I hate it when they do that. These are the competitions he's won over his entire career, and if we look at his City ones, he's won the Premier League, came runners up in the Community Shield, won the Premier League, won the Community Shield, won an FA Cup. So yeah, that's not bad, is it? Won the two big domestics. Still nothing on the European level though. Quick look at his stats though, and you know, he's a regular starter, which is 7 million. Can't believe that. But you know, he's not super prolific. He's until this current season that's just gone. He's not scored 20 goals in a season since his 1 year in Egypt. His dad, who's moved from Inter Milan to one of my other favourite teams, Liverpool. I'm a Man United fan. If you're brand new, I'm a Manchester United fan. all the other guys know what I'm going on about. So yeah, he's gone to Liverpool, and how bloody good is he? Now this is quite cool, because what I did with the dad was I gave him a decent framework to start with as a manager, and then gave him -9 potential, so I gave him the potential to become good. But very rarely when I make staff people do they actually become very good, and his dad's become very good, really. Well, after 5 league wins and 6 cup wins, he was sacked. Technically 11 years, man. Sacked and replaced by Pep Guardiola. Now, if we go over to Tarek's history, you know, he did really well, as we've seen. I know it's going really fast, but he's European. He never, in over a decade, he never won anything on the European stage, and maybe that was the final straw. So, you know, too many runners up. You're not winning the European Cup. It's time to move on. So, can the outspoken, short-tempered, confrontational perfectionist do well with Liverpool? Is this going to be the club where he tries to sign his son from again? I can't see that happening. He's not going to sign his son now, is he? If his son stays at City and he's at Liverpool, that is not going to happen. So maybe that'll never happen. But there's a chance they could play against each other. And they did this year. Obviously, this is the first year they've been in the same league together. And Liverpool started off beating them and knocking them out of the Carabao Cup. They eventually went on to win it. But Hassan Abdallah did score against his dad. They then played in the league and lost again. This time Hassan got substituted. His dad would have been laughing at him. But then came a little bit of revenge for Hassan, because in their 3rd game of the season and the 2nd Premier League game, they beat him 3-2. This time at home at the Etihad Stadium, and Hassan got a goal. Again, this is like, I'll hit you, you hit me. But the season wasn't over. These two, in their first season as rivals, came together 4 times. That's why I'm showing you this, because it's crazy. Liverpool won again. Let's check in on Libya, because young Hassan Abdallah is starting to get to his peak, his prime. He's still playing for his country and he can't stop scoring for his country, and they're now 69th in the world. So they've moved up quite a few places. Libya, they won the African Nations in 2014. I didn't know that, so that's something for me. But no, they come 3rd in the under-20s. I think that's about it. So I'm interested to see how long his international career will go on for. Sometimes this kind of player, playing for that kind of country, they might retire a touch early, but he's done his country proud, hasn't he? 125 goals is absolutely insane, but he's only 27 years old. We've got some way to go. Welcome to 2034, and we're now here with Hassan, who's 32 years old, and we find him playing for Real Madrid, which is pretty cool. And he looks like he's played a lot of games for Real Madrid, so he must have made that move not long after we last checked in on him, which I'm happy about. I'm a United fan, but I wanted him to go and do something different. I wanted him to experience a great career. And, you know, he's gone to Europe, but started off at Lyon, then gone to City, done quite well, and then made a dream move that probably every player would say yes to and could not turn down, which is Real Madrid. And it looks like he's been pretty successful there, because he scored more goals for Madrid in less games. Hassan is still an elite striker at 32. He's probably just getting to the end of his peak. Star player for his country. He's now scored 151 goals for them in 116 games, which is pretty sweet. Model professional, loves every club he's ever played for, and he's got millions and millions of friends, which is nice for him. These are his career stats so far, and yeah, he left City after that season, went to Real Madrid for £84 million, which seems a bit of a drop off really from the 107, but that's what it is. But then when he's gone to Spain, he's become really good, and first 2 years in La Liga were outstanding for him. Lots of goals, high average rating. Yeah, he did really well at Madrid. He's kind of tailed off a bit. So obviously with City, never won anything on a European level, but has that changed for him? Well, he's won La Liga, the Supercopa, La Liga, the Supercopa, La Liga. Finally, there we go. There we go. Buzzing for you. He's won the big one. Now, going back to his information, just to show you, he retired from international football in 31. So he's not played for Libya for 3 years, and they never won anything. So, you know, he qualified for tournaments, but they never got to a final. But at 32 years old, he's probably coming to the end of his best years. Has he won a Ballon d'Or? Now, that can be tough for a player like him, because this is the Budiverse, so there's quite a lot of stories built up on top of each other now. Go and check out the playlist if you haven't already. And some of them are guaranteed to be better players than him, and he has done. Absolutely buzzing with this, because Lincoln Jackson, you can see there, he's won 3 out of the last 4. Fletcher, Jackson, the 2 brothers from one of my other videos. You've got Mbappe down there. Fletcher Jackson's amazing, isn't he? The Fletcher, my son's called Fletcher. So they're amazing. So they dominate it really. And you can see Arthur King from one of my first stories this year. He's good as well. They're superstars. So that 1 year Hassan actually won it. I'm really chuffed for him because he did have a good season. His father, his career's took another turn too because he's just come pretty much to Dortmund over the last year or 2. And in between that, he left Liverpool and went to City. So he was at Liverpool quite a while, but after what we looked at, he never won anything else apart from the Community Shield. So maybe he jumped, or maybe was he sacked and then went to City? Yeah, he was. So he was sacked at Liverpool and he was out of job for only a couple of days. I mean, Liverpool look quite itchy at the minute, don't they? After Jurgen Klopp, if you're not mega successful, they're sacking managers everywhere. Look at the managers they've sacked after a year. So after missing out on his son because it's the summer, he gets sacked from Liverpool, he goes over to City, is the year Hassan leaves for Real Madrid. So they've never crossed paths yet. But he's at a club now where he could sign him. I mean, 32-year-old, I don't think he will. Now what's crazy is he's only 49. So he could have a massive career as a manager. He's still a bit of an asshole though. Welcome to 2038 and Hassan Abdallah has just been released. He's not released, his contract's finished because he's retiring. He's about to retire in a day. This is the day before his retirement, so I've finished it here so we can have one last look at him as a player. And his career kind of wimping out in Madrid. I don't know if he ever had the chance to leave, but he ended up getting dropped down by the looks of it. But yeah, he's had a great career. Played for some good teams. He started to whimper out here. You can see that last year he was a proper player for Madrid. He's starting getting dropped down a bit and then getting recalled maybe. But when he gets recalled, he plays well. Now I'll leave it on his biography so you can pause it if you want and just have a bit of a read if you're interested. He did manage to win another Champions League 3 years later as well, so he's won 2 Champions Leagues with Real Madrid. But yeah, great career. You can see all his awards here, his main awards. Obviously he won a Ballon d'Or as well, which I'm super happy with because whenever I make a player like this who's just not a superstar, who's elite, they very rarely ever do that, and especially once the Boudiver starts kicking on because it gets harder and harder because of all the great players in this database. So did his dad finally have him? Because he's been Real Madrid manager, he's not anymore, so it looks like he's had 1 year at Real Madrid. So after we last looked, he never won anything apart from a Super Cup at Dortmund. I'm interested in, did he get sacked again? I don't think he did because the date's the same, I'll check. I'm guessing he left Dortmund for the Madrid job, where he was only there for a year. Definitely was his manager, wasn't he? So when he came in, he'd have found his boy. Now, coming in at the very end, no way, it's this game. There's always something that comes together. So he's come here for 1 year, his son's final year as a player. Maybe that's why his son retired, because he thought, I can't play anymore. No one else wants me. I could stay here a little bit and contribute for Madrid, but I can't work with my dad. And then that's it. So them 8 games he played there, his dad was his manager, his dad was giving him the tactics, his dad was putting him on the pitch. He scored 1 goal for his dad. So that'd have been awkward, wouldn't it? Now obviously his father's not retiring, he could go and have a mad career. He's been manager of some crazy clubs, although ever since he left Inter Milan, he's struggled, hasn't he? Liverpool, City, Dortmund and Madrid, and he's won trophies, but he's struggled to establish himself and stay somewhere. Maybe he should drop it a level. But we're not going to find out. Leave that one to the imagination, and who wants to find out? I don't like Tarek, and I hope you don't like him either. So if you did enjoy it, make sure you smash that like button as always. Thanks for taking time out your busy-ish day to sit here with me. Hopefully I've given you some escapism. Maybe if you're as bored as me in isolation, it's something to do. So I really do appreciate it. I always do when people watch me videos and smash the like button and comment, honestly. So thank you very much. Make sure you go and check out all my other stuff. Got some new videos coming out soon. Got a couple more story ones coming out over the next few weeks. The Journeyman continues, and I've got something new, a new series. So yeah, hopefully you're going to enjoy all of that. So thank you as always. Hope you and your family are safe in these troubling times. So for me and my family, we give you our best wishes. I'm Bood. I'll see you next time.